Today, Precarious plays
Deus Ex, Human Revolution. Do you have any other feelings that you want to express about Armored Core before I talk about Daemon Ex Machina? There's something that I want to say. I want to raise a counterpoint. You said that, like, it was cool, well put together kind of game. I can't actually agree with that. I feel like From Software, they've always punched above their weight. Where they have ideas that outstrip their budget. That's one of the reasons why I want to see Lost Kingdoms 3.
Yeah.
I want to see Armored Core 6.
Yeah.
I want those games because I feel like Bloodborne, while I've got some problems with it, like I've got some me problems with Bloodborne, I feel like it was very technically proficient. I feel like it was a well executed piece of software.
I suppose that my opinions have been formed by just watching you play, because I think one time you had me try to play. It was still on the PlayStation. It was an Armored Core on the PlayStation, and you were like, okay, so here you go, and here's
on the PS2?
Yeah, I think so.
So it was probably Last Raven or Silent Line.
I think Last Raven sounds right, but I wouldn't remember anyways. The point is that you sat me down and you're like, okay, so here you go. And I was like, okay, what do you do? And you're like, you tune your mech. And I'm like, oh, okay.
You spend 20 minutes tuning your mech and
to
then
fight for 3 minutes.
Yeah, after a 40-second loading screen, and then
and then you come back and then you improve and you iterate until this is a mech building game. What do you do? You know? And they're
huge and expensive, and they require a lot of due diligence in between battles.
And this was earlier on in our friendship, so I was just trying to be as cool as possible because I was like, I must be missing something because he seems really excited about this. So I never played that again. Like, I sat down and I got through like I was like, okay, but what is the minimum I have to do to make sure this thing can run? Like, I kept prodding you to give me the answers, and you're like, but no, this is the game.
Well, that's why I feel like I haven't had you try it yet. I don't even know if you've been watching me play it that much. But
no, not really.
Daemon Ex Machina.
Keeping my distance.
Daemon Ex Machina. First off, the visual design, it has an artist's sensibility about it.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, it is very good looking. I think it's going to age much better than any Armored Core game has.
The Armored Core games didn't look bad, though, because it was mechs. Mechs look good.
Well, but did you look at the backgrounds or anything?
No, all I ever saw was the menus.
Right. So even the menus were not good looking. I feel like they didn't put enough time into like the visual UI usability. For a game where you spend so much time looking at the menus. It's not a good looking series. Like the contrast was too stark. It was like a lot of black on white, if I remember, or white text on black screens.
Yeah, it was.
That kind of thing.
That's what I remember. Or like silver.
Right. And that is rough to look at for extended periods of time. I feel like that's a problem that's been alleviated with Daemon Ex Machina. So one thing that often goes overlooked about Armored Core is that it has like the same peculiar character focus that is present in, say, Dark Souls, right? Another From Software title.
Yeah.
Where there are all of these Just to have a quick shorthand, you have all of these Solaire types, right? Characters they're sort of, they have a strong sort of archetypical, I don't want to say archetypical. They have a strong central character trait that everything else builds off of. Mm-hmm. Like, I can't remember his name right now, but there's a pyromancer in Dark Souls.
Yeah.
And I think you find him in a barrel, and he feels very humble and very kind, and a little put upon. Mm-hmm. And that sort of gentleness, everything about him is kind of based on that one trait. Mm-hmm. Because I think like every character in that game has a threshold for how much bullying they'll withstand before they turn on you.
Yeah.
He has one of the highest thresholds in the game. Because he's just gentle, right?
Yeah, he's like, oh.
Yeah,
hey,
he's just a nice, sweet dude.
Yeah.
Solaire, he has this kind of, I would say it's sort of like this sort of this purposefulness about him that almost feels sort of fatalistic. Mm-hmm. But he's he's chipper. Yeah. I would say that Solaire's defining trait is his chipperness in all things, even in failure, even in it seems like he may have chosen to become undead to go to the region that the game takes place in, right? Like he may have chosen that for personal reasons. Or he is so upbeat, it doesn't matter if he chose it or not because it feels that way, you know?
Yeah, it feels like a decision that he made.
Yeah. Armored Core has that. The problem is that it's always the pilots, and unless you create a strong... So this, I find this to be very helpful whenever you're dealing with Armored Core. And this is also true, it's slightly less true of Deus Ex Machina because... damn it, I did it. There it was.
Yeah, there it was.
Daemon Ex Machina, because they have nice like character portraits and models for the pilots.
Yeah.
But thinking of the Armored Cores as suits of armor, and imagining all of the characters as knights with very sophisticated sci-fi suits of armor. Because drawing an association between someone's mech and like that character reveals that same kind of characterization. Like I like White Glint and I like the continuity between several of the characters between 4 and 4 Answer, because like some of the what were they called? What was the pilot designation? Was it Next? I think that the pilots were called Next.
Yeah.
All capitals NEXT. So I think like the pilot of Noblesse Oblige dies. And because of that, in the sequel, in 4 Answer, Noblesse Oblige has a different emblem.
Yeah.
And other characters reference that. They're like, yeah, you think you can take that guy's place?
Yeah.
I can't remember her name right now. I can't remember the name of her mech because it's been so long since I've played. But there's a character that I like a lot. I think her name is Wynn Fanchon. Wynn. Not a great example, I know, but it's been like 8 years since I played Armored Core 4 Answer. So, pardon me. Yes, right?
Yeah, this is what you're supposed to do.
Yeah. Okay.
Jensen, 4 GPLs just popped up, including yours. Koss, Colvin, Faraday. I'm missing one. Dr. Reed's.
Of course. You don't
Keep
have
tracking
to
him.
pause that long.
And I need you to try something else.
Try something? What?
Simulate feedback along that route. Make it strong enough to vibrate their implants. They have to feel it.
A signal, eh? Not bad, Jensen. I'm sending it now.
That was almost a compliment.
Yeah, I still don't like that guy. I'm glad that he's not one of the people trying to... How did they get alarmed?
Because they just caused 3 simultaneous lab accidents.
Oh, okay. So they're just alarmed in general, not alarmed at you.
Right, although I was standing there like a dork at the terminal, seeing if I could turn that camera off.
Like you've got both your hands like above the keyboard, and they like walk by and they're like, somebody just hacked something, and you're like,